Hi everyone. Some of y'all had shown interest in wanting to learn how to do the reverse glass, and I told y'all I'd do a video. This is a reverse glass I did, and reverse glass is simply oils on the back of your glass, and I backed this with paper and then applied it onto a canvas, and it makes a nice wall hanging. You can back them a lot of different ways, but we'll talk about that later. The first thing you want to do is get you a piece of glass, whatever size you need. I have one here that I've just started that I'm going to be working on and showing you how to do. I've already taped around the edges with masking tape. What you want to do is make sure that you clean your glass with any glass cleaner. That will work. And that it's dry and clean, and that you tape around the edges with masking tape so that you won't get cut. When you get done with your painting, we'll start talking about backing it. But today we're just talking about actually doing it. When you get a piece and get it ready with your tape around it, find something you want to paint or draw you something you would like to paint. I have a book here that I found a picture in that I like, and that's the one I'm going to use. I've already started this, and I'll show you as we go. Sometimes you will need, my mind blanked out, I can't think what you call them. I'll have to edit that out. A palette knife. I was using, a lot of times in the reverse ink, I use an ink pen and the India ink. But it tends to blob, and I don't like that. So I've started using a Sharpie fine point marker. That works really well. The brushes that I normally use is a round brush, filbert brush that I can just brush on my paint with. Sometimes I have an area that I have to use a little flat brush in. Sometimes a liner brush or a medium brush. Just whatever brushes you have, if you're into art, will work. I have a little glass, well actually it's plastic, a little relish jar that I have poured in some odorless mineral spirits to clean my brush with as I go. And I always keep a little thing of that around. And it doesn't matter if it has some of the sediment in the bottom. I've been painting this, and so it's got pink already that I'm using. I always keep an old washcloth that I can use to wipe with. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is you're going to take your glass and get it ready, clean it. Then you'll take your glass and you will lay it on your painting that you want to paint. And remember, it has a front and a back to it. The front is going to be smooth. Your back's going to be rough because that's where you're going to paint actually on. So I've already started this, so I have to lay it back where I had it. Pretty much on the pattern. Now some people tape the patterns on, some people do not. I just sort of sight mine in and go for it. Because really it's my painting, and it doesn't really matter if it's exactly like the other one or not. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. It might be casting a shadow. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw in another leaf. I'm going to take my marker and just trace the sides of that leaf coming down under that flower. And if you're a little shaky like I am with your drawing, it's okay. It's like I said a while ago, it's your painting. And nobody's going to get up close and worry about whether you shook when you did a painting or not. They're going to just enjoy looking at how beautiful it is and what a great job you've done. Now I'm just going to show you a little bit today. I had done another video, but I hadn't put it on because my bare feet was sticking out. I'm so country. But you know what? Sometimes that makes us the best ones of all, to be country. I was raised on a farm in the South. Okay. And if you come out a little bit on the edge and you don't want that little mark there, just take this and get it off. Okay, I'm going to show you about your paints now. should have had this laid out already. I have paint, and we're using oils. This is called Titanium White. And it's put out by the Master's Touch, but it doesn't matter what you're using for this particular thing. You don't have to use Grumbacher or a special type of oils. This is the Reeve set that I got over at Hobby Lobby, and it works real great for what I'm using this for. I'm going to pull out these colors, some of them, and show you what I was using, and we'll get started. Okay, for my green, I'm using sap green. And actually, I'm going to take, you can take a paper plate or whatever you want, piece of styrofoam. I'm taking a glass that I have extra because it'll be easy to clean off. And I'm going to put a little dab of sap green. Not much, just a little dab will do it. And I'm going to put yellow ochre, if I can find it here on there with it, because at one point I'm going to want a yellow green. Oh, here it is. I'll put a little yellow ochre on here. Oils go a long way. Even when you're painting a big canvas. And this is some alizarin crimson that I've used for my pink that I'm using up there. And I'm going to put some Payne's Gray on here. That's a good color to mix your colors with if you want darker shades. Black is okay, but I like to use the Payne's. And here's the white. And you use a good bit of white. Because you're going to be mixing your colors into the white. And you might want to have on something old so that if you do what I just did and drop that lid, it won't get on your clothing. Okay, I'm going to take my palette brush. First thing I'm going to do is get a little bit of the white. I'm going to get a little bit of the sap green. And I'm going to mix that. Then I'm going to add a little yellow ochre to it. Kind of get more of a yellow-green lightish look, but I want more of a dark tone to it too. So I'm going to add a little bit of the Payne's and see if I can get it to darken down to a little different shade of green. Sometimes it takes a while to mix to the color you're looking for. And then when you think that's the color you're looking for, sometimes it's not really it. You have to start over and mix more colors to get what you want. Now I'm going to take this little brush and I'm going to dip it in there to get it wet and get most of the cleanser off. Now the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to dip into this yellow green and I'm going to start painting it on here. Right where I've outlined on the inside of the outlines that I did with the marker. That brush doesn't seem to be wanting to do too good. I need me a smaller one. I'm going to go with this one to do what I want here. Okay, now it goes on as smooth as it can be. You don't have to put a lot of pressure. Just bring it on down. And it goes behind this petal. So we're going to bring it right up to it. Now this first that you're doing here, this is not going to look perfect. And when you look at it, you're going to go, ooh, that's ugly. And that's okay, because actually, this is just a background you're laying in, like you were painting on your canvas, and you're just laying in a background, and you're not being real careful with it. It's okay, because you got to go back and paint several more layers of oil on top before you finally can fine-tune it and get it like you want it. And it has to dry in between, so it takes a long time for these to get done, just simply because of the drying time. I have tried acrylic. Acrylic does not work. I tried the tubed acrylic. I tried the loose acrylic. I tried using medium with acrylic. Nothing with the acrylic works to give me the shading and blending that I want. So that's already a thing I've done and failed at. If any of you can do it, that's great. But for me, it does not work. Now, I'm doing what I do when I'm on my canvas, which probably not, some of you, if you've been painting a long time, might do. And others might say, ooh, I'm not going to do that. I just stuck my brush in and started mixing it on there without using my palette knife. When you've been painting a long time, you have a tendency to do that. You just reach in and pull out your colors and blend them right on the palette with your brushes, and don't use the palette knife a whole lot unless you're doing like something with a technique on it. It's going to be a heavy technique and you want to leave texture or whatever. Or some people just might be a lot more cautious than I am. I have to admit, I just kind of do it my way. But this is a process I've learned and I love it, and it's a lot of joy when you start doing this. It's just so much joy and it just makes everything just look great. I enjoy doing this. It's so relaxing. Now, I'm going to come over here and start right there where I had that leaf going. And there was a place in mine that I left because it looked entirely black. So, I'm going to take that brush and clean it a little bit, and I'm going to pick up just this paint spray by itself. I'm going to go right into that little place where it looks so black and just put some in there. Just lay it in like that. And in here was some. Now, we're going to stop, and I'm going to pull this off and show it to you. It doesn't look very good, and I'm the first one to say it doesn't. But that's simply because you only have one coat on and hadn't had to dry or anything. So we've got to let this dry before we put another coat on this. So in the meantime, if we decide we want to paint somewhere else on this painting, we can. For instance, I had started in on this leaf up here on the flower. So now I might come back and work on it, or I might continue on using my marker and continue on doing leaves down through here. You can mark your whole painting, do the whole pattern on it at one time if you choose to, and let that dry, and then you can come back and do your work. You don't have to work in just little small areas like I'm having you do here. This, I guess, is really for somebody who's never ever done it before, and I was just trying to make it maybe a little bit simpler, a little bit easier. So I only did just a little bit. But you could go over and do your whole painting, all of it with your marker, and then come back and start laying in your paint. But remember, when you lay in your paint, the first layer you put on is going to be on the rather thin side, and that's good, because when each time you layer on paint, it gets a little thicker on there. And in the end of it, you have a beautiful, beautiful painting. You will learn to work the lights against the darks. That's what we do. There's a medium area, a light area, and a dark area on anything you do. It makes it three-dimensional. Like this right here. I worked in my darkers and then got in my lights and did a few highlights, but not many, because this background has a sparkle sheen to it. And we'll talk about backgrounds later on. I hope y'all have a good day, and I hope you enjoy doing this. And I hope you come back for more videos and we get to do some more. Thank you. Bye.